Alright, Schlockmeister fans, another re-review from my previous channel from the giant Herschel Gordon Lewis box set. Here's a chunk of it. We're going to watch the Gruesome Twosome. Let's check it out. Napoleon. Like most movies, this movie starts out with talking wigs.
You girls live sheltered lives. Well, my life is simply plumb full of excitement and real education. Matter of fact, that's where this all happened. You're talking in circles. Thank you.
The wig then tells the story to the other wig.
I'll tell you what happened on my college campus. I mean the story of Mrs. Pringle, the co-eds, Napoleon, and Rodney. He's at any of this. Experiences is believing, as Mrs. Pringle always said.
This is Mrs. Pringle, her stuffed cat Napoleon.
Isn't she a lovely girl with this lovely brown hair?
She's looking to take in a boarder.
Don't I, Napoleon?
So she shoved her in this door, and inside this room is her son, Rodney. Her murdering son, Rodney. Rodney takes his big knife and scalps her. He's pretty adept at scalping people, so I think we have a pattern here. I think he's done this before. Kathy and her boyfriend Dave.
Hi, Kathy. What do you think about those missing girls? The whole campus was talking about it.
I know it. It is strange, all right. 3 girls just disappearing like that.
Anyway, when Kathy isn't thinking about those murders, she's partying hard with her girlfriends.
Dave, suppose you and I did a little checking.
She wants to be a miniature detective.
Help the police.
Hold on. The police don't need any help. And I don't want you going off on any snooping excursions. I don't want you to
She immediately suspects
police have
the
checked
janitor
this, and they don't need any help.
because he's
I know how you
creepy.
get carried away over things like this, and it worries me.
Anyway, her boyfriend leaves and she's gonna go after the janitor. She's gotta go into stealth mode. She saw him take something out of the garbage can and walk away, so immediately she suspects he probably is the killer and continues stealth mode. She spies on him as he digs a hole. And what has he got in that bag? Oh my god, it's a bone. He must be the killer. She digs him up, of course. He buries the bones for his dog to dig up later.
It did look strange burying them and all.
You have caused enough trouble. Following people, accusing them of murder, and now trespassing? What is your name?
So Mama and Rodney use these scalps to make wigs. Rodney's got a few screws loose. So is Mom. There's a long scene of eating.
Have some beer.
Oh, who can drink beer at a...
Another lady inquiring about the room for rent from Mrs. Pringle.
I'm Mrs. Pringle, and this is Napoleon. Really, my dear, you're exactly what we've been
She has a
waiting
pattern.
for.
Bring him in, introduce him to Napoleon, introduce him to Rodney. She shoves her in the room with him again. This time he's got a carving knife. A little more filler to pad the running time. Another pretty girl stops by, meets Rodney, and promptly gets sliced open. Kathy's still poking around and ends up at Miss Pringle's place.
I'm looking for the young lady that came to rent a room from you earlier this week. Dawn Farrell. I know it's late, but I want to talk with her.
She's basically turned away, but she's still suspicious, so she comes by at night, too. Naturally, she breaks in the house. She goes into Rodney's room and finds scalps and Rodney. Well, her boyfriend Dave thought something was up too, so he brought the cops over.
Gracious, you men look so perspired.
Disappeared. Son, I'm beginning to believe that you have a good imagination.
Gracious, our boarder must be putting up another picture, Napoleon. I must speak to him about hammering so late at night.
Make their way over to Rodney's room just in time to see the aftermath of Kathy stabbing him in the eye.
Lieutenant, what do you suppose will happen to Mrs. Pringle and her son? She seemed like such a sweet old lady that I'm afraid they'll both spend the rest of their days in the state mental hospital.
All right, let's talk about the Gruesome Twosome. It's part of this gigantic shock and gore Herschel Gordon Lewis box set, which is in here. It's hard to see; it's kind of like a book, but there's a Blu-ray, DVD, and several of his films in this package. Maybe 16 movies, 12 movies. I'm not sure. This is what the big package looks like. If I can lift this up with one hand. Oh, Jesus Christ! It's a big bad boy here, isn't it? But it's a pretty damn cool box set. I guess I'll leave it there. I actually had this on a DVD also. I had it for years. I think Something Weird put it out, but then this Blu-ray came out from Arrow, I think, put this out. So I had to pick this one up. So anyway, the movie itself, it's a crazy-ass film about this woman, Mrs. Pringle, and her son, Rodney. They run this wig shop, and the way they get their wigs is by taking in women boarders, scalping them, and taking their hair and their scalp and making wigs out of it. That's the whole plot of this movie. And throughout this movie, we see 3 or 4 women come in and get scalped. Meanwhile, at the local university, this woman named Kathy, who's a co-ed there, gets suspicious about everything, and she wants to try to see if she can help the police by figuring out the killer herself. So she goes into this police mode and starts stalking the janitor, first of all, to see if he's guilty. He's not. That was a crazy, ridiculous scene with her stalking him through the streets. Very bad acting from the actress who did this, but whatever. Ultimately, she tries to track down Mrs. Pringle later on because she learns that one of the victims allegedly went to Mrs. Pringle's house, or one of the missing girls went to Mrs. Pringle's house and hasn't been seen since. So she goes there. She gets nothing, but she's still suspicious. So she comes back at night, breaks into the house, finds her way into Rodney's room, where Rodney, her son, Mrs. Pringle's son, who actually does the scalping, attacks her. Meanwhile, Kathy's boyfriend Dave has called the cops because he thinks something's up. So they show up at the house, and Mrs. Pringle basically offers them some coffee and whatever else, and they talk to them. The cops think it's a prank until they hear a commotion in the back room. They go in there to find that Kathy has just stabbed Rodney in the eye with a sewing needle, and so they rescue her, and then the movie ends with apparently Rodney and Mrs. Pringle are going to spend the rest of their life in a state mental institution. Damn, this thing's getting heavy on my shoulder. So anyway, that is it. That's the Gruesome Twosome. It's 71 minutes long, filled with a lot of padding. Apparently the first 4.5 minutes of those 2 wigs talking was added after the film was shot just to get to the 70-minute mark. But there's a lot of other padding in there too. Some beach scenes, some singing scenes. There's like a demolition derby or a car race scene. Just a lot of padding in this movie. And when we do have actual acting and stuff, it's really bad acting too. There's a lot of gore in it though. Like I said, Herschel Gordon Lewis, he's the godfather of gore, and he packed plenty in here. No nudity, although they teased quite a bit. There was a few shower scenes, but it's always behind like a fogged door, and they wrap a towel around themselves really quick. That sort of thing. Way to tease us, Herschel. But anyway, that is it. It's available on this gigantic box set, which is long out of print. If you want to get this thing, last I saw, this is going to cost you several $100s, $500, $600, $700, something like that. It's a really cool box set. I'm glad I have it. It's filled with bells and whistles. There's like a rubber eye, a book, a record, like a 45 vinyl record in here. Lots of goodies, and of course the Blu-rays. However, this entire set, minus all those extra goodies, is available in a much smaller, more affordable set, which I think will run you about $80 or so. You can still get that used on eBay. But yeah, this is a cool one. Only, I think 500 of these were made, like I said, so I'm very happy to have this one. But anyway, that's it. You can also get the Gruesome Twosome. I'm sure that Something Weird video is readily available somewhere too. So anyway, that's it. Gruesome Twosome, and it's a fun film, but it's really bad. It's one of those that is so bad it is good, and it really is good because it's so bad. Very entertaining. You won't be bored, even though it's only 71 minutes long, so yeah, it goes quickly too. So anyway, that's it. Check it out. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about the Gruesome Twosome. Watch it. Bye.